I mean, I just don't think he's very smart.
Right.
You say something nice about Donald Trump, you know, he'll love you no matter what. So when he first started to run, I didn't really take it all that seriously, but I came out and I said it was refreshing to have a candidate that was candid, wasn't scripted.
Billionaire Mark Cuban is making his mark on the presidential campaign by revealing some troubling character flaws in Donald Trump that many connected people are apparently too afraid to say out loud.
And so during the primaries, I supported him against Ted Cruz. From time to time, as he started talking about things, I was like, Donald, I mean, I can't support you on these issues. Some of the stuff is just batshit crazy, but I don't want Ted Cruz to win. And he was like, oh, that's okay, Mark, that's okay. We'll see what happens. And I honestly didn't think he believed he would win.
As Cuban talked about his original support for Trump and his quick shift away from him, he reminded me of just how many things we all learned about Trump in 2015, like how easy it is to manipulate him as long as you butter him up.
Say something nice about Donald Trump, you know, he'll love you no matter what.
But the most important and most discussed characteristic that was widely discovered was his inability or disinterest in learning anything. Cuban called it a lack of intelligence.
I remember it was about this time last year when the whole topic of encryption came up with Apple and the FBI. And I tried to explain it to him. And it was just, there was no point. And so as time went on, it got to the point where it was obvious he wasn't making an effort to learn.
You know, who knows if Donald Trump has the potential to learn anything he doesn't already know? A lot of people call him stupid or dumb, but what may be worse is his disdain towards gaining any knowledge. We heard about the cabinet meetings and intelligence briefings where his people were just frustrated over how little he chose to read and how they had to shorten everything into one-page explainers or make sure not to go on for very long or else they'd lose him. You remember all the stories that told Americans just how uninterested he was? I'll give you guys a second or two to refresh your memory. And for people that have been conditioned not to believe anyone but Trump, he said it himself.
You are getting the presidential daily brief only once a week.
Well, I get it when I need it.
But is there some skepticism?
First of all, these are very good people that are giving me the briefings. And I say, if something should change from this point, immediately call me. I'm available on 1 minute's notice. I don't have to be told, I'm like a smart person. I don't have to be told the same thing and the same words every single day.
Cuban went on to reveal more unsurprising tidbits about his last interactions with Trump and why their relationship ended there.
And one time I went on TV on CNN and criticized him, and he sent me a note. So the way Donald Trump sends a note is his assistant, one of his assistants, would email me, and I would respond to the email, and then she would print out the email. He would write on the email, scan it. I would get a copy of the scan. Efficiency at its best. And so he sent it back in that format, and he said, after I criticized him, what happened? And I'm like, Donald, I've told you, at some point, you've got to learn the issues. And that was the last time I talked to him.
Imagine never speaking to someone again. Someone who was originally a supporter that felt you need to maybe learn something about the job that you're looking to get. You can't get away with refusing to learn the cash register process at McDonald's and expect to run the register. But according to Cuban, Trump hasn't talked to him since that egregious request. Instead, the former president appealed to people that don't expect really anything from him.
I know Mark Cuban well. He backed me big time, but I wasn't interested in taking all of his calls. He's not smart enough to run for president. Who's smarter, you or Trump?
That's like asking me if I'm smarter than a ham sandwich.
Yeah, the egos are flying between these two wealthy guys that love the attention, but that doesn't negate the truths that were being told about the one that promises to run the country like his favorite authoritarian leaders. But Cuban wasn't done. He took his revelation tour to one of Trump's most loyal opportunists.
It's ethics. The man told Mike Pence not to certify the election. The man called the Secretary of State, or was it governor? I forget, and asked for 11,072 votes. The man has stolen from more hardworking Americans.
You were against Trump in 2016, though. You were against Trump in 2016.
Right, but he was unethical then, and he's still unethical.
And in 20, right?
That's right, but that's the whole point.
Maybe because he's loud and boisterous too, because Vivek's attempts to go to the standard tactic of questioning Cuban's reasons for calling Trump out were pretty useless here. Cuban got to know Trump and apparently doesn't feel forced to keep his secrets because he doesn't need much from him.
I actually started off supporting Donald, and then I got to know him better.
When did you support him?
Like 2015, I was like, he's great. He's he's not a typical Stepford candidate. I thought that was a positive.
I would think that's a positive, right? A business guy who's pretty practical.
But then I got to know
not
him.
Ideological.
Then I got to Trump University, Trump Soho, stole $4 million from a friend of mine that had sued to get it back. Mike Pence, 40 out of 44 people.
It's all the things that we knew, like his life full of business scams, but with some extra details and interactions that I guess only rich folks discuss in private.
Take a look at the 4 years, because each of these are just going to be separate sort of personal attack rabbit holes. Look at the country in those 4 years.
No, they're not personal attack rabbit holes. They're legitimate things that actually happened.
So do you think the country, do you think the economy prospered and border crossing issues were far better under Donald Trump under those 4 years than they've been in the last 4 years? You disagree on that premise too.
No, because if you look at border crossing, what was Obama's nickname? The deporter in chief. If you look at actual crossings, they were lower under Obama. And when Obama came in, they were higher, and he continued to lower them until the last couple months. On the economy, Obama took a up economy and improved it, and Trump inherited that, right? And actually, inflation grew by 25% under Trump over Obama.
Ramaswamy's been conditioned to respect billionaires like Cuban. So when he tells the same truths that a political activist or a pundit tells, it permeates the brains of more people. It's why those simple, well-known facts about Obama's deportation record and economic record went unchallenged, even though many others had pointed them out in the past. But he still wasn't done dismantling these played-out excuses from Vivek.
The one certainty about the office of the President of the United States is the complete uncertainty, that you have no idea what comes next. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, and so in my mind, and I think a lot of people's minds that oppose Donald Trump, is that you want somebody there that is educated on the world, but more importantly, just is ethical, right? So that they make ethical decisions. You want somebody when there is no precedent, it's never happened before. You want somebody that has hired not people who are most loyal, like Tony Soprano might have done, but hired the very best people. And those people want to stay and work for them, not that they're loyal. You want somebody whose first inclination is not to do what's in their own best personal interest.
So
right?
Can I just
you can't deny that's Donald Trump.
No one can deny those obvious character flaws in Trump. And it's important to bring them up while asking supporters why those issues are suddenly acceptable only when it comes to their guy. It's an exhausting process where you have to break down every deficiency in their argument, one by one.
It's just like a CEO of a company. Would you hire somebody that has a long history of stealing from people, of being unethical?
I'll tell you,
you would not, and you know it.
Is Donald Trump a perfect person? No, he is not. Am I a perfect
we're not
person?
talking about minimal imperfection.
Are you a perfect person?
No,
You're not.
No,
but we have to
we're
ask
not talking
ourselves
about
who's the actual best
have
president.
You ever stolen money?
We have right now. I've never stolen money from anybody. No.
Either have I. Right? Have you ever had a company?
I have no evidence to say that Donald Trump has either.
Oh, I do for sure. Ask Barbara Corcoran, right? She had to sue to get her money back. Ask anybody from Trump University. Ask people who bought condos in Trump Soho. Ask people from, Trump Foundation that gave money there. Ask people who are giving money today, and he's using that money for his legal fees. So, this isn't like a little discretion. This is a habit.
Mark,
That's why I can't support him.
Look,
you were talking about ethics. You would not. Have you ever told any of your employees to short pay a vendor just to try to save some money? No. Either have I.
Again, none of this is new, but it makes an impact because the political defense mechanism of normalizing bad behavior for one guy, for the sake of that one guy, doesn't sound so good when it's challenged in plain terms. We've elevated a rich guy that's just a simple, unconcerned opportunist that lacks any real-world skills that we teach our kids to develop. He was never interested in the tough job of president, only the prestige and notoriety that comes with it. Everyone knows that, We just have to acknowledge it and ask if that's the kind of person we really want in the White House. Again.
Fame. Donald Trump says his thirst for fame motivated his run for president. That's according to a new excerpt published in The Atlantic today from the forthcoming Maggie Haberman book, Confidence Man. Haberman asked the former president if he had to do it all over again, the 2016 campaign, the investigations, the insurrection, would he? Trump's answer, Haberman writes, was candid and jarring, but, she says, unsurprising. Quote, "The answer is yeah, I think so," Trump told the author, "because here's the way I look at it. I have so many rich friends, and nobody knows who they are."